An update on Oklahoma's COVID-19 numbers, educators risking their lives during the pandemic, and an unraveled kidnapping plot. This is OU Nightly. Hello and thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Waggner.
And I'm Wagger. We begin tonight with another high number of COVID cases being reported in Oklahoma.
Today, the State Department of Health is showing 1,212 new active COVID cases for a total of 13,190 active cases statewide. There are also 10 new deaths, bringing the Oklahoma death toll to 1,085. The city of Norman reports 40 new positive tests today for a total of 391 active cases. OU's numbers from yesterday show 345 students and staff are in isolation. 64 of those positive COVID tests, the result either have been directly exposed to a COVID patient or has COVID symptoms and are waiting on test results. Oklahoma hospitals continue to see a record high number of cases. Over 700 people are in the hospital due to COVID.
In the middle of a COVID pandemic, many Oklahoma teachers are on the front lines, expected to teach in-person classes. OU Nightly's Emma Sears has the story in Washington.
Overworked and underpaid, this is the life of a teacher working the front lines of a global pandemic.
So sad. I mean, literally the first couple of weeks we had 3 teachers quit. We had 2 go on extended mental health absences leave because they just couldn't take it.
Elizabeth Scott teaches English at Edmond North High School and says that the risks they are taking to continue to teach isn't worth their lives.
A lot of teachers just feel like we're being treated as expendable, like our health doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we have pre-existing conditions. It doesn't matter, like they want babysitters.
Earlier last week, Representative Kendra Horn introduced the Educators Are Heroes Act, which would give teachers working the front lines a 25% bonus.
But especially as school starts back and we see the cases continue to rise, we need to recognize and value the work that our educators are doing.
Horn's Educators Are Heroes Act is struggling to pass right now, but teachers like Scott believe that it should.
It just feels like we're not being supported by anybody, and like we're also working harder than we've ever worked before.
Still overworked, but hopefully not underpaid for long, teachers are working the front lines every day and hope to receive some kind of support from their government for their efforts. Emma Sears, Gaylord News, Washington.
If the bill passes, it would also extend the suspension of student loan payments under the CARES Act until September of next year.
The U.S. takes down a group planning to kidnap a governor and take over the government. Grace Whitten has more about this and other headlines from around the world.
The FBI charged 6 men today in a plot to kidnap Michigan Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Federal authorities say the alleged plot involved months of planning, including rehearsals to snatch Whitmer from her summer vacation home. The FBI claims the group carried out field exercises, which included detonating a bomb. They also considered storming the state capitol. The feds described the group as a militia, and if convicted, each man faces the possibility of life in prison. And in case you missed the vice presidential debate last night, we got you covered. Vice President Mike Pence and candidate Kamala Harris faced off between the plexiglass, covering more topics than last week's Trump-Biden showdown. Susan Page, last night's moderator, covered topics like racial inequality, Roe v. Wade, and climate change. But a lot of focus turned to Trump, with Harris offering criticism about the president and Pence defending him. And another presidential debate is supposed to be a week from today. It is proposed to be virtual, but Trump says he won't participate in a remote debate, putting the future of debates in question. A Texas grand jury has indicted Netflix over the controversial film Cuties. The indictment charges the streaming service with the promotion of lewd visual material depicting a child. Netflix responded saying that the film is a social commentary against the sexualization of young children. Initially, a provocative promotional poster of young girls caused a stir. Netflix removed the photo and apologized. And only 2 states have reported a decline in COVID-19 cases this week, and Wisconsin has seen a record high of cases in the state, setting up a field hospital to treat patients.
Thank you, Grace. Warm weather is here for those in Norman and anyone headed to Dallas.
But how long will it last? Juliana Mejia is here with a first look at the forecast. Juliana?
Hey guys, the crew and I are outside here thoroughly enjoying the sunshine. There's not a cloud in sight. It's very clear, and we've had quite a beautiful start to October. It's been quite warm though, and I know some folks do prefer and are looking forward to some cooler, more typical fall-like temperatures. And so coming up in the full forecast, I'll have details on what we can expect the next couple of days for conditions here in Norman. I'll also be talking about our tracking of Hurricane Delta down by the coast and what the impacts are expected to be like, as well as conditions this weekend in Dallas. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Juliana. Several OU students will be heading to Dallas this weekend for the Red River Showdown. We'll take a look at how different it will play out amid the pandemic.
Plus, a drive-through flu clinic is happening on campus. We'll check it out after the break.
The popular Red River Showdown game is looking very different this year. OU Nightly's Claire Easley has more from fans and what is going to change for Saturday's game.
OU students are packing up and heading out to make the drive down to DTX this weekend for the rivalry of the year.
We are going down to Dallas and we're going to stay in a hotel for Friday and Saturday night. We're not going to the game, we're going to this bar restaurant place.
But new regulations and a pandemic won't stop student football fans from celebrating the way they always have.
There have still been people going out here anyways, so it's not really going to be a ton different, I think.
The state of Oklahoma is currently in the red zone for COVID-19 cases, which means 101 or more new cases per 100,000. Oklahoma also has the 5th highest rate of positive cases out of all 50 states in the country. In an effort to keep fans safe this weekend at the OU-Texas game, the Cotton Bowl will be held at a 25% capacity. There will also be limited ticket sales and parking spaces available for this game. Claire Easley, OU Nightly.
Big change, the Texas State Fair is canceled due to COVID. Ticket holders can begin parking at 8 a.m. Saturday for the 11 o'clock kickoff.
Another big concern this fall, the upcoming flu season. OU is doing its part by having a drive-through flu clinic at the Jenkins parking garage. Lindsey Gibbs joins us with more on the importance of getting a flu shot during the pandemic.
COVID-19 is on everyone's mind, but flu season is fast approaching. 8 people have been hospitalized from the flu, according to the Oklahoma State Department of Health. Getting your flu vaccine is even more important this year.
This coronavirus scare, we don't have a current vaccine that we're administering right now. So I do think we'll see a surge in vaccinations today.
University healthcare workers line up to give OU students and faculty free flu vaccinations.
Whenever they arrive, we have our first table over here that's just for check-in. And then they pull around over to the left side, and then that's where they get their shot.
The flu shot drive-through is intended to avoid a large volume of people in clinics on or around campus.
And so this is the time of the year where we do expect to see flu activity increase, including influenza-like illness, hospitalizations, and deaths.
Medical professionals advise receiving a flu shot this year in order to avoid a twindemic.
To be affected by both the flu and the coronavirus, it's just going to be twice as hard. You'll probably see a surge in the hospital.
With both the flu and coronavirus circulating, hospitals are likely to face shortages of beds, ventilators, and PPE as they had earlier in the COVID-19 pandemic.
So we want to just make sure that our students and faculty are going to be as protected as possible.
In autumn, a twindemic would also mean a rise in flu and coronavirus cases here on campus because both viruses present similar symptoms.
Thanks, Lindsay. The next opportunity to get a free flu shot in the Jenkins drive-thru will be October 14th.
And COVID-19 has changed so many aspects of our lives, but OKC marathoners have found a way to keep their passion alive.
The weather looks great for it too. Juliana, can you tell us what to expect?
Yeah, so coming up in just a bit, I'll have some details on what we can expect with the next couple of days here in Norman, but we'll also be talking about tracking Hurricane Delta and what that looks like down in the Gulf Coast. And I'll have more on that coming up. Welcome back to OU Nightly, kicking off the forecast by talking about Hurricane Delta. Here we can take a look at the track that we're expecting. It has upgraded to a Category 3, but it is expected to plateau in strength, if not weaken, before making landfall tomorrow afternoon towards the evening. Main concern is the storm surge, the life-threatening storm surges. You can see that peak really is where it is expected to make landfall, if not east of where it makes landfall is where storm surges are expected to be the worst. And although, again, it may weaken before making landfall, the risk for these surges remains high. But bringing it back home, lows tonight across Oklahoma are in the upper 50s, lower 60s. We're 63 here in Norman, 60 in Oklahoma City. Will be pretty clear like we have been throughout the day today. And tomorrow is going to continue to be warm and sunny like we've had it the last couple of days. 83 both here in Oklahoma City and Norman, as warm as 91 and 90 in Woodward and Guyman, 78 down in Ardmore. Now I do want to pull up our forecast for Dallas for those of you that may have the opportunity to go to the game on Saturday. That Saturday afternoon high is going to be 87 degrees, sunshine. It's going to be gorgeous, gorgeous weather, probably even better out there at the stadium. So finally wrapping it up with our 7-day forecast. We will have our winds turn around coming from the north at the top of next week, so our temperatures will cool off, fortunately, to back down into the 70s. Back to you guys.
The coronavirus has changed so many aspects of our lives. OU Nightly's Sydney Bollier explains how the pandemic changed the annual OKC Marathon.
Marathon running has been around history since 490 BC. Something about the grueling yet spectacular 26.2-mile race draws runners in. But in 2020, stepping up to the start line looks a little different.
I was working as harder than I've ever worked in my life. Training, everything, nutrition, sleep, all of it was dialed in. I was so excited. I was hoping to go to Boston and just crush it.
The OKC Memorial Marathon, like other national races, gave registered runners the option to either run virtually, defer to run in the future, or donate the money to the memorial. Although some chose not to run, others kept training.
Now that I've trained at this point, I don't want to defer. I want to go ahead and get it done.
In order to complete the virtual race, runners are required to submit their times manually, allowing them to personalize their own race experience.
You could be in Berlin, Germany and run it over there and it's still going to count.
Just as everyone had to do during this pandemic, long-distance runners adapted to reality, leading to their own unique memories.
I think that there was some really special moments shared here locally that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I went to Boston.
And marathon runners realize that even though you can race anytime, anywhere, the heart of long-distance running is found in the people.
The people and the camaraderie is really my most important thing, and that's what I miss about the large groups. I miss being there with everybody.
Behind me you can see that the OKC Memorial Marathon did in fact set up a virtual start line. On the other side of the banner is the virtual finish line. These are where the actual start and finish would be if the marathon were being run in person. They set these out for those that do wish to come to the city to complete the actual course in person. The marathon opened up on October 4th and will remain open for runners to complete until October 18th. I'm Sydney Bollier, OU Nightly.
The virtual start and finish line for the OKC Marathon is located outside the OKC Memorial Museum and will be available for runners until the marathon closes.
And as you know, it is OU Texas Week. Horns down.
Will, what can you tell us about the game this weekend?
Horns down, guys. It's OU Texas in 2 days. I've got some highlights from past games as well as what it'll take this year to win. Stay tuned. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Will Blessing, and it's time for sports. This weekend is OU Texas, so it's time to throw out the records. With both teams coming off losses, there is far less national attention on this year's showdown. Historically, the team that wins the ground battle is victorious in this one. It's a statistical fact not lost on this year's Sooners.
Throughout the history of this game, it's always, the more physical team wins, the team who can run the ball better and the team who plays more physical defense. So, I think we're up for the challenge for that. These guys are really excited to get back on that field and improve.
Moving on to other Sooners sports, volleyball plays against Baylor tonight. The Sooners are coming off back-to-back losses at the hands of the Longhorns. Freshman Gouet Diouf served as the offensive spark against the Longhorns and hopes to do the same in Waco. And so fall sports are moving right along, but of course taking great precautions against COVID-19. Katie Arata reports that the track team is doing their part.
Track athletes at the University of Oklahoma trained tirelessly in preparation for their season. Last spring, their season was cut short due to the coronavirus. This season, their training has many new restrictions and limitations.
Despite these limitations, the track team is doing everything possible to be safe and prepared for their upcoming season.
This is obviously we got to run with the mask. I mean, we can't touch anything on the outside of the track facility. Can't touch anything, and then we have to enter the track facility one route, exit out another route.
The athletes feel that even though OU is doing a lot to keep them safe, they could be doing a better job.
They could do better because, I've seen plenty of people just walking around with no mask on. And I don't know about other buildings and other classrooms, but I feel there's a lot of improvements that they can do.
The track team is looking forward to their upcoming season, even if it means taking extra precautions to keep their health a top priority during these difficult times. Katie Arata, OU Nightly.
The NFL has had its share of COVID news, and the Titans' luck isn't getting any better with more positive tests throwing Sunday's game against the Bills in jeopardy. But tonight is Thursday Night Football, and we've got TB12 against Foles and the Bears kicking off at 7:20. The Bears are looking for a comeback win after Sunday's loss, but Tom Brady is undefeated against the Bears, going 5-0 against them with the Patriots. Tonight also brings a throwback to Super Bowl 52, the last time Brady and Foles played against each other. And the MLB playoffs are in full force. The Braves are leading the Marlins 7-0 in the 8th, and the Astros are up on the A's 5-3 in the 5th. The MLB action continues tonight with the Padres playing the Dodgers and the Yankees playing the Rays. And finally, a golf legend went viral. John Daly, the multi-time PGA Tour winner, hit a barefoot hole-in-one during a charity golf tournament. Known for his unique style of play, this fits right in with his play style. Now, guys, I play a little golf myself, but I think it'll be a long while before I can hit a shot like that.
Well, I don't know if I would be able to do that either, honestly.
All right, and two neighbors in Texas started a trend. They are seeking others to follow suit. Learn more when we return with OU Nightly.
I'm Donovan England at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A light aircraft carrying almost half a ton of cocaine crashed in central Mexico. The aircraft was involved in a high-speed chase with authorities. The craft apparently ran out of gas, and the two people aboard died. Be sure to like and follow OU Nightly on Facebook. And if you have a suggestion for a news story, let us know. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
This election has further divided political parties, but two neighbors in Texas are trying to put people over politics. Marnie Litton supports Trump and Tasha Hancock supports Biden, but they aren't letting that get in the way of their friendship.
In a Facebook post, Litton explained that she and Hancock don't see eye to eye on everything, but share a mutual respect and love for one another. The women hope their friendship inspires others to show kindness through trying times.
And it's a little toasty in Norman. How long is this hot weather going to be lingering?
That is a great question. It certainly has been super warm and super sunny, not necessarily sweater weather, but taking a look at the top of next week, our winds are switching around. They'll be coming from the north, which will bring in a bit of a cold front and therefore cool off our high temperatures back into the 70s. So it's going to be a beautiful continuation of sunny weather, but a little bit cooler coming next week for the next work week. So that's all I got for you guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Juliana, and thanks for tuning in to OU Nightly tonight.
We're taking a 3-day weekend, so we'll see you back live Monday at 4:30.
Good night and beat Texas. Oh gosh, my eye.